Do it yourself, save some money. Carry 1982 V6.
This is another one of the do-it-yourself, save you some money types of projects. What I'm having is the clutch is not disengaging when I put it into gear. In order to get to the clutch, you have to remove this cover here, because if you look right up in there, see if I can even get it at the right angle, there it is. There's a bolt that hides back behind this. So you have to pull all of this off to be able to get that off. And one thing I noticed was as I opened this up, just up in here, and I'm sorry that's way out of focus, there was, you can kind of see it, a little bit of white stuff, and I'm hoping that's a assembly lube of some sort, not water. If it's water, then I need to be concerned. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull this cover off, and we'll show you what's underneath there. We have this cover off. Does go up around the starter, but you don't have to undo that bolt. For a minute I thought you might have to, but you don't, so don't undo that. It's just the two bolts that sit down inside of it, and then the rest are all around the outside perimeter. This one did take a little more work to pry. Don't pry hard. I mean, just kind of work it just a little at a time and work it back and forth until it slides off. It does have, this gear set does sit inside of it. I'll show you here. Sits down in right there. So you want to make sure to not ruin that or damage that area at all. One thing to just FYI, this starter doesn't disengage the gear. What it has is, this is a one-way, I believe it's actually this gear here, will allow it to spin one way freely, but won't, no matter how hard you try, it will not turn this way. So when it's running, this is just spinning, and when you're trying to start it, it's turning the other way, engaging the drive. So just an FYI. Now I'm going to go ahead and start pulling the clutch housing or clutch cover off and see what we got down in there. Okay, now real quick, because this cover here was a lot harder to get off, what I did is, it has lips down around, yeah, out of focus. Anyway, has lips right here that provide for great leverage, and all I did was come up underneath and rested a pry bar, just a standard pry bar. Anyway, rested against the exhaust mount bolt and just lightly pressed, and it popped it right loose. Okay, now that I got, I did have to pry the same way down on this other side as well, just lightly, and then just kind of rocking it. But this here is your clutch pack, and see if we can see anything that I don't want to see in there. And I believe this is what they call the clutch pin when they talk about clutch pins. So anyway, I'm going to do some exploration and see what I can see to figure out why the clutch doesn't want to disengage some of the time. Anyway, go to that point. Okay, real quick, two things I forgot to mention. The bolts around here are 8mm. The clutch bolts are 10mm. Real quick, I wanted to show the condition of the clutch. See if you guys have any suggestions or opinions or anything. I'm not seeing any indication of burning. It basically looks brand new. All of the bearings and everything look good. And see if we can slide a little bit more out here. I'll slide a few more out and then I'll show you that. Okay, I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm trying to balance all the clutch plates here and do cameraman at the same time here. But what I wanted to show you is, this is the back side. So this is the side facing the engine. So if I remove that one, and I did notice, just real quick, I did notice it was a little dark, but also there was a spot right here that had a little excess grease of some sort. It was dark, and you can see the back side of this is also fairly dark. But the thing I found interesting is, if I look at this next set, I have to actually pry that off. This friction plate, or clutch plate, friction plate, and then the clutch plate, these two are actually sticking together. I don't know what would cause it to do that, and that's my curiosity, because whatever it is what's causing my problem. I'm 99% sure. I've heard that soaking them will make that difference. I don't know what to soak them in, so I'm going to have to do some digging on that. But it definitely is having some problems separating. See, if I go to this next one, I'm willing to bet I'm going to have that same problem. So here's the next one, and it's sticking to it as well. Okay, this is the last set in there, and the one thing I noticed is I cannot separate them. The other ones I've been able to separate by hand, but I'm going to actually have to get a screwdriver in there and pry these apart. What would cause the friction plates and the clutch plates to stick together like that? I don't know. Any advice, I would greatly appreciate it, so let me know. Thanks. Okay, so real quick, what I'm thinking, and I'm just trying to figure out, a lot of you have posted onto the Triumph forum saying, hey, yeah, they soaked the clutches, or they ground down just a fraction of an inch of the clutch pin. I've already pulled the clutch pack out, and it's soaking right now, but I was trying to figure what everyone was saying they were grinding down, and I'm guessing that this piece here is the clutch pin everyone's talking about. And based on my assumptions, and they are just that, just assumptions, is I'm guessing the oil flow for the clutch comes through here, because the clutch, or the oil level, is quite low. It doesn't get up to where the clutch is actually spitting it, or hitting it. So I'm guessing that on this, they're either grinding down the race, which I would say is probably a bad idea. They may be shortening it right there, because I know you can't see it, but there is a little bit of a recess right here where it's darker. I'm wondering if they're bringing that recess out a little bit further so the oil can get past it. I don't know, and I'm looking for information on that, because I noticed when I pulled this clutch out, it was fairly dry. There was not a lot of oil in there, and so I do agree that it's very possible that it's just not enough oil getting into the clutch plates. I am soaking it now, like I said, and so we'll see how that all plays out. We'll put it back together and give it a try here early next week, because right now it's wet and snowy and nasty, so we'll wait till the weather's a little bit nicer to pull this back out and see what she does. Bike's been together for a while since we did the clutch cleaning and adjustment. One thing I did want to mention is, with this clutch, you have this shaft here that pulls that way, and then the arm goes down to a claw type setup to where it grabs a T. The clutch pin's a T. It comes out, and this wraps around and grabs it. So as you pull the clutch, it grabs it like that. So as you're adjusting it, you can adjust it out further as long as you don't get any slippage. And I think what contributed to my problem was, first of all, we had what looked like pretty old oil on the bike. The bike only had 5,000 miles, so I'm wondering if they forgot to do the break-in oil change. Not good. But it runs good, so, they made them good. Second thing going against it is it was sitting for quite some while, and that could have contributed to it. And the third thing I think was the adjustment, is how far out I was pulling it. So 3 things that didn't help the situation. Okay, so I don't know if you can read that, but we're currently sitting at about 7,393 miles. Okay, so now keep in mind this hasn't warmed up all the way yet. You can see there's no temperature reading right there on the temperature gauge. And it's 7:19 in the morning, and like I showed earlier, it's under 30 degrees. But if I pull the clutch, there's my clutch movement, and pop it in gear, and that's all it took. No clunk. Let me shift back out. Oh, went too far, went into second. Okay, there's first. See, so I'm back into first, or into neutral. There's into first. So as you can see, it's not having any problems. So it's beautiful. See, back into neutral. Pull the clutch, drop it in first. There's my proof. It's not in gear. It is starting to warm up now. So anyway, she works. I've been told time will tell the truth in the long term. So we will see. But until then, I'm going to ride because that's what I want to do.